Colorado rang in the new year by legalizing the recreational use of marijuana. The cannabis carries a 25% tax, with most of that earmarked for education programs and the rest to fund the regulation of this new industry. At least one New Mexico senator, that would be Jerry Ortiz y Pino, plans to push for a similar constitutional amendment here. Meanwhile, Colorado is gearing up for cannabis tourism, but state officials anticipate taking in about $70 million in revenues this year. Julianne, a reporter sent to Colorado. I love your style. Tell us how this happened, because I have to imagine, in your position, an editor in the Santa Fe paper, you have got to get on this story immediately. It's like right up the road. What did he find?
Him on the next trip.
Yeah, I can tell you that, I was at the Santa Fe New Mexican for a decade before I became editor of the Santa Fe Reporter.
Yeah.
And that even as recently as this summer, when we knew this Colorado change was going to happen, the reporters were really scrambling to make the pitch to the editors. Send me, no,
right.
Send me, don't send him. And so when it came up in my newsroom at the Santa Fe Reporter, Justin Horwath said, hey, can I go to Colorado this weekend? And we very quickly came to the decision that he should do that.
Right.
Because I think it's on the minds of a lot of New Mexicans. What's going to happen if I go to Colorado to participate in this new exciting thing? And what we really discovered, what Justin wrote about, if you want to still read his story, you can get at it at sfreporter.com today.
Perfect.
He discovered that you can buy the pot. It's not a problem as long as you're 21. It's pretty easy to get to the store. But then what are you going to do? You can't smoke it in your car. You can't smoke it in the park. So, Justin
was
was
national parks. You can't smoke it in
no
hotels.
public place.
You can't, right, exactly.
Yeah, and so, really what we determined is your best bet if you want to do some cannabis tourism is to go camping. Because you're probably going to be away from, the law enforcement that's going to challenge you about the public place. But, are people really doing that?
Yeah.
The interesting thing that happened to him was that he didn't smoke in his hotel room. He took the cannabis out of the room to smoke, but he still got in trouble with the hotel because of the lingering odor. So they're still negotiating whether we've got to pay an extra smoking fee to the hotel.
See, these are the little details.
Is it
I
the
appreciate that story.
Or is it the smell of Cheetos that he left?
Dan, one of the interesting things, one of the reasons I wanted to take this on tonight is I grew up in a border state, meaning we had no alcohol sales on Sunday. You know where I'm going with this. Every Sunday, what did you see? Cars going north to New Hampshire to go to the state liquor store right over the line. Do you anticipate the same kind of thing happening it's different when you're a border state.
It's definitely something that's going to have to be looked at, because one of the things that's going to have to be thought through is the lingering effects. Now, remember, I was a decrim guy.
Right.
I was one of the few Republicans that think we need to figure out a way to, we're losing the war on drugs, and to continue to say we got a war on drugs that we're losing is insane. It's the definition of insanity. But I think that, if you leave and go up there and you partake in this, then you come back on Tuesday and you're a bus driver or you work in a construction job, there's lingering effects that you're going to have to figure out. How do you pass the test when you come to work on Wednesday because you were up there doing this over the weekend?
Sure.
The one thing I do think is important, though, is I think Senator Ortiz y Pino's wrong on what he's trying to do. The Constitution is not the place for a policy discussion.
Okay.
The legislature is the place for a policy discussion. And it seems like we're moving more and more with issues that if it gets bogged down in politics, let's go to the people and put it on the Constitution. And if we want to do that, then let's become a referendum state and let's let the people vote on it. The Constitution is not the place to put policy decisions in writing. The Constitution is kind of the framework from which you operate, and then you make policy decisions in the body. I do think, though, we had this problem in Chaves County, when I was in Roswell. The city of Roswell didn't serve on weekends, but Chaves County did. There was a bar literally 5 feet. And you drove out there on Sunday. I'd have to go by there going to Artesia to see my parents. I wasn't drinking. And there'd be a line of cars. It was amazing. You were like, did Sunday sneak up on everybody? Did they not know they should have gone out Saturday night and prepared? But it's going to create a problem. We already saw the state police said, look, we're going to be watching for this.
For erratic driving. That's right.
Well, and for people bringing it back into the state.
That's right, which is illegal.
That's right.
Thank you for bringing it back up, by the way. Tourism, pot tourism. I'm interested in this as well because I love the new cannabis column in the Denver Post. It's a brilliant piece of journalism. I really think it's really quite well done. A lot of activity on tourism. People are getting ready for it, but the tourism department of Colorado officially is not sanctioning this. And what brings that up to my
cash
mind,
the
Rob,
check.
is they'll cash a check. Do they need the tourism department to do this? I don't think they do.
free
You know what I
market.
mean? I don't think they do.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the buzzkill here because even though I, being a libertarian, I don't have a problem with decriminalizing this. I don't know if it's going to be that big a deal.
Meaning money-wise? Or?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
hear me out here.
Please.
It's taxed at 25%, which is a pretty decent chunk. What happens when government taxes things? They increase the taxes on it, just like on sin
Always,
taxes.
always, yep.
I would not be at all surprised if in 10, 20 years that the state of Colorado and any other state that passes this, the government gets addicted to the tax. They raise the tax like
Sure.
a sin tax, like they do on cigarettes and alcohol, and they raise the tax to 40%. And what happens then?
Black
You
market.
create a black market. You've created an incentive, and you've undercut the whole reason why you legalized it to begin with. So like I said, I'll be the buzzkill on this one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just don't know if it's going to work out.
I
in the
would
long run.
disagree, though, only to the extent that, I remember we had a person come and talk to us in the legislature who had MS, and he was on pills, and the doctors told him you could take these pills, but the pills are going to kill you long before MS is.
Wow.
The flip side is, if you inhale marijuana, if you take it, the same effect, it's immediate. Instead, he was having to take these pills, he'd have these reactions, these seizures, and then these muscle contractions. He'd take the pill, and it would take 2 hours for the pill to take effect, but he could smoke. My point is I think that when you look at him, the story he told was, every time my wife goes out to buy this stuff, she risks being a criminal. She
right.
risks being
Oh, sure.
prosecuted. I think you're going to see people going to these states saying, I can obtain this legally. I got to worry about how to get it home. But that's far better than it is going to the seedy side of town
Right.
and trying to find a drug dealer and get
So
the
to that- Let me get
to
Sophie,
that end,
we're
if I may,
almost out of time.
jump in, one of the unintended consequences that we're hearing reports of coming out of Colorado is that, Colorado, it was already illegal to use marijuana medicinally, and there is real concern amongst the medical community and patients, about competition for the supply. And that is a real concern, that competition can make it very difficult, and they're already talking about issues, in particular with hash oil, that competition could make it quite difficult for patients who really do need it to get the supplies they need. We don't have massive fields of marijuana the way we do with tobacco and other things. Now, I am going to disagree with you briefly. We don't see the massive moonshining operations that we saw during Prohibition in response to the sin taxes that are in place on alcohol, and we don't see that much growing of homegrown cigarette supplies. I can't say the word right now. Tobacco, thank you. I think that actually regulation and taxing of marijuana countrywide would lead to a highly stable market.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's just the one state becomes this weird little crucible.
Quickly, Julianne, if
I
you
was
could.
just going to say that the supply issue is already a factor in New Mexico with the medical program, as was widely publicized when the Department of Health did this survey about whether there's enough access. And the reason that the medical supply situation is such as it is because of the tight regulation on producers. And so I think if we see some evolution in the laws about producers, and in Colorado, I think you're going to see a big boom in this as an industry that
And
people
they'll have
are.
to adjust accordingly.
They're going to begin
Lawmakers,
cultivating
sure.
marijuana as a way to make a living, which is
right.
the American way,
People
is
are
it
doing it
not?
now.
That's right. In a minute, we're back with the author of a historical novel full of con artists and intrigue set in Civil War New Mexico.